Every second, this number grows by over $100,000. It's the total of every loan, every mortgage, every government bond on Earth. $324 trillion. It's a number so vast, if you spent $1 million every single day, it would take you nearly 900,000 years to spend it all. We call it world debt, and it's owed by our governments, the companies we work for, and even by us. But here's the question that rarely gets asked. Who did we borrow the money from? Who holds the world's IOUs? The answer is far more complex and frankly more shocking than you might think. Who really owns the world's debt? We're going on a deep dive to follow the money to find the creditors hiding in plain sight.
First, let's meet the debtors. World debt isn't just one big pile. It's split into three major categories. First up, government debt. This is what countries borrow to run themselves. And in 2024, it hit a record $102 trillion. The biggest borrower in sheer dollars is the United States. But the country with the highest debt compared to its economic size is Japan, at over 260%. For poorer nations, this debt is a crushing weight. This year, 61 developing countries will spend more on just the interest on their debt than on healthcare for their citizens. Next, the biggest piece of the pie, corporate debt. This is money borrowed by companies, from giants like Apple to your local factory. They use it to expand, research, and innovate. But it also makes them vulnerable to economic shocks. And finally, there's our debt, household debt. It's our mortgages, our credit cards, our car loans, our student debt. It's the debt that hits closest to home. So, governments, corporations, and people are all borrowing. The entire world is in the red. Which brings us back to the ultimate question. Who's on the other side of all these loans? Who are the creditors?
The first big surprise is that for many developed countries, the biggest creditor is us. It's called domestic debt. Take a pensioner. Their pension fund doesn't just sit on cash. It buys government bonds, which are seen as a super safe investment. That means the government owes its own citizens. You are the creditor. National central banks are also huge holders, buying up debt to manage their country's economy. In the US, over 2/3 of the national debt is held domestically by its own people, institutions, and the Fed. But that's only part of the story. The rest is owed to foreign creditors, and this is where the power dynamics get really interesting. The dominant force in global lending today isn't a country, it's the private sector. We're talking about massive global commercial banks, and even more importantly, institutional investors. Think of giants like BlackRock, Vanguard, and Allianz. These firms manage trillions in pension funds and private savings. They are the single biggest lenders to developing nations, holding 44% of their external debt. They lend for profit at market rates. Then you have the official creditors. These are governments and public institutions. Historically, a group called the Paris Club, made up of mostly Western nations, were the main government-to-government lenders. But in the 21st century, a new titan has emerged. China is now the world's largest single official creditor, having lent over $1 trillion, much of it for its Belt and Road Initiative. Many nations, especially in Africa and Asia, owe staggering amounts of money directly to Chinese state-owned banks. Finally, there are the multilateral creditors, the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. They act as the world's financial emergency services, providing loans to stabilize economies and fund development projects.
So, the world's IOU is held by this complex mix. Ourselves, powerful private firms, other governments led by China,
and global institutions.
This isn't just a numbers game. This mountain of debt creates a vicious cycle, especially for the most vulnerable. It's called the interest trap. Countries have to borrow more money just to pay the interest on the money they've already borrowed. That means less money for schools, hospitals, roads, and clean water. Debt payments are literally costing lives. Debt is also power. It creates geopolitical leverage. A creditor nation can use the debt owed to it to influence the foreign policy and trade decisions of the debtor nation. And this giant web of debt makes the entire global financial system incredibly fragile. A major default by one country or a large corporation could trigger a domino effect, leading to a global crisis. And why should you care? Because it affects your wallet directly. High government debt can lead to higher taxes and inflation, eroding the value of your savings. It influences the interest rates set by central banks, making your mortgage, car loan, and credit card debt more expensive.
So who owns the world's debt? There's no single villain or savior. The world's financial system is a deeply interconnected web, where the savings of a teacher in Canada might be managed by a trader on Wall Street to fund a loan for a new highway in Kenya, which is owed to a bank in Beijing. We are all part of this global balancing act. It has fueled incredible growth, but it now stands on a knife's edge. The real question for our future is not just about paying back the debt, but whether this system itself is sustainable. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into how our world works.